So here we go. We've got Larceny Barrel Proof, and we've got two of them. The B521 was one of my absolute favorite drinks of all time. That's why it sits atop the list. This comes in at 68% corn, 20% wheat, 12% malted barley. It's between 6 and 8 years old, although it's non-age stated, but that's everything that I've read online. So I'm curious to see which one's better and if either of these can live up to the hype of the B521, at least for my personal preference. So, traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. C921 ain't bad. So because we're doing two bottles tonight, I'm going to skip the bourbon bomb of the week because I don't like to make these videos that long and you guys don't want to watch videos that long. But I will tell you a little bit of breaking bourbon news. This might be old news to you. It might be new. But apparently Heaven Hill, which is who makes Larceny, is taking the Evan Williams single barrel off the shelves in every state except Kentucky. This is going to be a Kentucky only release. Now, those are just rumors for right now, but people are buying these up everywhere they see them. So if you see Evan Williams on your shelf, if it's still MSRP, the single barrel, I suggest picking it up. One, it's delicious already, and two, if it does become a Kentucky only release, you're going to be excited you have a bottle. But let's get into these right now. Let's start with the C921. So as you know, we start with drinkability, and this comes in at 122.6 proof. This one comes in at 124.4 proof, which is one of the higher offerings from Larceny Barrel Proof. I believe the A121 was one of the lower offerings, and that's why a lot of people didn't like it. The B521 came up a little bit higher, and people loved it. And then obviously the C921 sticking into that range. So I'm curious if this is closer or farther away from the B521. So for 122.6 proof, I will tell you one thing. This is super easy to sip. Reminds me a lot of that B521. The wheat, the sweetness really brings down a lot of that ethanol kick. You're not getting punched in the face with any rye spice. So this is super easy to sip, super smooth. I'm going to take another sip. Again, I think this is up there with the B521. I don't even remember the exact scores that I gave for price, taste, drinkability, but they were definitely all up in the nines to be at the top of the list. This obviously does have some ethanol kick to it, but at 122.6 proof, I cannot be mad at this at all. I think this is going to be a 9er as well. This is going to be like a 9.27 when it comes to drinkability on the C921. Let's keep things interesting and go back and forth on this. This is the A122. A lot of reviews that I've already seen from a lot of people that I already trust say that the A122 is better than the C921, but not quite as good as the B521. So I'm curious if I think the same way. Let's try this out. Let's see what we think on drinkability. Almost missed my mouth there. Okay. These two are like clearly different. This is a lot more oaky, a lot more leathery, a lot more spicy as well compared to the sweetness that I got off this one. This is weird. I didn't think they would be this different. I wish I had, and my brother-in-law even offered me. He said, why don't you take the B521 just in case you want to compare the three? And maybe we'll do a video one day comparing the three. But these two right here, this is different. I don't know if it's bad different or good different. I'm not on taste yet. But drinkability, this is the higher one. This is 124.4 proof. I don't know. Drinkability might be pretty close on this. Like there wants to be an alcohol kick to this, but it literally disappears as soon as it's about to happen. I'm like preparing myself for it and then it's gone. This is weird. I think this does though. The A122, I think this does win when it comes to drinkability. And I'm going to give it like only slightly, only very slightly. I'm going to give it like a 9.36 when it comes to drinkability on this. And that's going to get us into taste on this. And that's where this one's going to be hard because this is like super sweet and then this is like super spicy, but without being any rye. It's not really a rye spice, but let's stick over here to the C921. For this one, I'm getting like cherries. I'm getting like a dark berry on this one, getting a like burnt brown sugar, vanillas, all of the sweet notes that I'm expecting to get from Larceny, especially after the B521, which was super sweet to me. Maybe even like some maple syrup on this. A lot of sweetness behind this glass right here. Maybe like the smallest hint of oak and leather on this, but I'm talking barely. Like you can barely get that flavor profile, but it's definitely there on the back of the mouth. The mouthfeel brings it out. The finish brings it out. And it's a long finish. It's a very good long finish. I like this a lot. Again, I don't know what people don't like about this. This is, again, right up my alley. It's not quite as sweet as the B521 either. If people love sweet, I think the B521 was sweeter. This almost feels like the B521 and the A122 got together and made this, which again, it's all personal preference at this point. I think this is absolutely delicious. I think that this is going to be delicious as well once we get to it. And I think the B521 was fantastic as well. So it almost becomes a preference thing at this point. Now, if you like Larceny Barrel Proof, maybe you do pick out the differences between the three of them and have a favorite, which as of right now, I think is still B521 to me. But this is still good. Again, those cherry notes, those dark fruit notes, I'm getting a lot of sweetness on this. This is what I like in a bourbon. This is what I'm looking for. Being not quite as sweet, let's put it like 8.98. 8.98 is what I'm going to give this one on taste. Now let's get over to the A122 because I think that I'm not going to like this one as much when it comes to the flavor profile on this. Now drinkability was a little bit easier, but again, we talk about it all the time. Will I sacrifice proof for flavor? And when it's that close, I don't know if the flavor is going to make up for itself here. All right, it absolutely does. I get the sweetness now. I'm pulling out the sweetness, brown sugar, oak, leather. You're still getting a little bit of that sweetness. Maybe I don't get a quite cherry note on this though, like I do on this. Cherry's weird with these hazmat, these high proof. I get it on Stag Junior. I got it on the Coy Hill for sure. This one I'm picking up no cherry, but this one over here I'm picking up a little bit of cherry. I don't know if it's the blending process or what it is, but it's interesting to see just after a few months the difference between these two bottles here. There's definitely some nuttiness in this as well, and I think that's because of the high malted barley content. It's 12%. We just did Old Elk. That was like 34% malted barley, and that really opened my eyes to the flavor profile that malted barley allows you to have, and I'm definitely picking up a little bit of that nuttiness here in the A122, but again, not so much in the C921. This is going to be tough, and this is probably why I shouldn't do 2 bottles at a time, because now I'm thinking, which one did I like better, rather than basing it off itself. But I do think that I like this one better when it comes to the flavor profile, and I didn't think I was going to at the beginning. The sweetness on this is usually what I lean towards, but something about this, the way that it's balanced, the oak on this, which I don't usually love, just works so well with the brown sugar and the vanillas. That nuttiness, which is something that I do love as well, being like a Booker's nuttiness or a Knob Creek or a Jim Beam nuttiness, I'm really pulling out of this Larceny, and it's fantastic. I hate to use that word all the time, but that's what this is. I'm going to give it a 9.01 when it comes to taste on this. I think it's ever so slightly. I almost thought it was a tie. They're different, but yet at the same time, they both have so much to offer. I normally lean towards the sweetness, but this is starting to open me up towards that oaky, smoky leather flavor. And then the nuttiness is really what I think I'm picking up on this that I love. I love that Booker's nuttiness, all that kind of stuff. So a 9.01 is what we're going to give this one when it comes to taste. And last but certainly not least, we're going to get into price on this. These bottles come in at $50 MSRP, and we always talk about comparables. When talking about Larceny Barrel Proof, we're always going to bring up Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I like to bring up Booker's just so you can realize how high the price tag can get on these. Booker's is pushing $95, probably even $100 by the time they release their next bottle. Elijah Craig's still in that $60, maybe $65 price point, but at $50, and you can quote me on saying this, Larceny Barrel Proof might be the best bang for your buck bourbon on the market right now. I'm going to give this like a 9.32 when it comes to price on this. Both of these are just a little bit different, but they're both fantastic at the same time. If you have an opportunity, I would never pass on a Larceny Barrel Proof again until they give me a reason to not pick one up. But as for right now, let's add these scores up. I would send it over to this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week, but we're going to skip that today. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The results are in. The C921 coming in at a 9.19, which puts it right above our Stag Juniors, and I think it deserves to be right there. The A122 comes in at a 9.23, which puts us either second or third, right below the B521. Again, I think the A122 is better than the C921, but I could honestly drink both of these all day of the week. Larceny Barrel Proof is one of those things that surprised me more than anything else when it comes to my current collection. I never thought I would like it, and yet here we are with 3 of them in the top 5. But listen, that's where I'm going to leave you for today. Make sure you check me out on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. I'm working on a small project trying to get a Bourbon of the Week sticker in all 50 states. If you want to help out, message me on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. I'm asking $5 for a sticker. We're up to like 16 or 17 states. So if you're one of the states not listed, hit me up. Let me know if you guys want one. Make sure you check me out on Patreon at Bourbon of the Week as well. We do a lot of fun things just for Patreons. And if you want to come chat with us 24/7, check out our Discord link in the description below. I appreciate you guys. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly. Click that like, click that subscribe button. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay drinking. Cheers, y'all.